Hello everyone and welcome to iReadit, bringing you your daily dose of the internet for Monday, October 30th, 2017. I am Michael Schwan.
And I'm Nathan Wood.
Please remember, everybody, you can help support our show by going to patreon.com/dailyinternet. In addition, we do go live Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. Alaska time on Facebook and YouTube. Nathan, how are you doing today?
Today was super fucking busy.
Yeah?
And it sucks because we were down one person, but it felt like we were down three.
You got to see Josh today.
I did. He was so pretty.
he is a rather pretty man.
It was pretty exciting.
Except I heard that... Did you get to help him?
No, I didn't. That was PJ.
I heard his visit did not go as well as he hoped.
Yeah, and honestly, it happens to a lot of people, and I'm not just saying that. But what happened was, like, he was missing some of the forms that he needed.
Oh, he told me that because he was trying to file his divorce paperwork.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like his tax returns or something.
No, he told me it was his divorce paperwork, but they were rejected because his soon-to-be ex-wife's signatures were too old.
I remember what it was. The notary was too old.
Yeah.
Yep, and so he has to send it over to Canada. She has to get it notarized and send it back fairly quickly.
Again.
Yep.
So, that sucks, and I'm sorry, bro. You might even see him again today, because he's supposed to be over here in about 30 minutes.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, knowing him, he'll probably, like, smush into my face and wave, so just heads up on that. Otherwise, though, how was your weekend?
It was pretty good. We played some D&D, and that was not bad. It's really about it.
That sounds super exciting.
I feel like I did something on Saturday, and I just don't remember.
I can tell you what I did on Saturday. Pretty much nothing but play Destiny 2.
Oh, neat.
That's almost the only thing I did all day Saturday.
I would say that's, time well spent, but I really have a very low opinion of Destiny. So
that's fair and understandable. I'm not going to try and defend it, but it is enjoyable at least. Like, I'm not going to say it's like a great game. It's one of the better shooters I've played recently, and that's not saying a whole lot. But yeah.
You know what the best shooter I played recently is?
Doom 2.
Depth.
That's
because I haven't played Doom 2 yet.
That's
well, okay. So I'm sorry. I have played Doom 2. I was thinking you said Doom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Doom's a pretty good shooter, but and is Depth really a shooter?
Depth is definitely a shooter because I play mostly fucking divers. If you look, I'm actually platin divers.
Whatever you say, buddy. Whatever you say.
However, I am like top silver, bottom gold for sharks. I just don't play sharks, which is unfortunate because like I bought the game to play sharks, but like I've had so much more fun being scared out my gourd.
Out your gourd?
Yeah.
Why?
My gourd,
How have you been doing on your scary movie a day thing?
It's doing pretty well. I missed like 2 or 3 days in a row, but I feel like I made up for it by watching the entirety of Black Mirror.
Sure. That's cool.
I mean, there's that.
All right. Shall we actually talk about some news?
Yeah.
Some newsy news?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow, that was really quiet. Shall we turn that up and try again?
10.
Yeah.
Aha. FCC eliminates main studio rule.
This is submitted by Egg Scores to REzist.
So the main studio rule was a rule that was implemented by the FCC about 80 years ago, and it's in place against AM, FM, and TV stations. And what it is, it requires those stations to have a main studio that is located or either in or near its local community. And at the time, the rule was meant to facilitate input from community members and the station's participation in community activities.
Sure.
Now, people are, wanting to throw things around about, like, why this was removed, because, I mean, if it gets removed, it allows people in, like, New York to set up and run radio stations in, we'll say, here in Anchorage, without having to actually put anything here. Which is why people are saying, it's bad for consumerism.
Right, because it takes it away from the smaller areas, the smaller radio stations of the area.
Well, and people are pointing the largest finger at a group called Sinclair Broadcast Group, which wants to do a merger with a group called Tribune Media, which would mean that once that merger is complete, 72% of the U.S. population would be accessed by a single company.
Damn. That seems like a monopoly almost.
Almost, and that's why people are kind of pointing fingers at this. But I do have a level of understanding when it comes to the FCC reasoning behind this. And basically what they said is that it's an outdated rule, that the original purpose of the rule in terms of being able to facilitate input is no longer a problem with the modern technology, with things like the internet and social media and even just the basis of email. The idea behind a main studio rule is no longer as necessary.
Sure, I can understand that. That makes sense.
And as for the side of things...
It just happens to be at a time where one group can take advantage of it.
Sure. Well, and also, I mean, they also make the argument that in some ways it also benefits people that are wanting to start, like a radio station or a TV station, because they won't have to build an actual physical structure or actually have an actual structure that they are based out of. So
this is pretty much just making radio actually just podcasts.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it basically means that you could set up a radio thing on your house and call
Are we going to be a radio show?
No. No, we're not.
Damn it. I've always wanted to be on the radio. Except I can't fucking say curse words like this goddamn word.
That's true.
Shit.
Sorry, buddy.
Tits.
Yep, yeah.
What are the words you're not allowed to say on radio? There's a Blink-182 song about it.
Well, there's also a George Carlin skit on it. There's
shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, tits, fart, turd, and twat was the song.
Well, those last three are not.
Maybe in like England.
Those first seven are them. Those last three are not. I don't know about England.
I don't know.
In terms of American radio, it was those first seven.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this rule has been overturned by the FCC. It was a 3-2 vote along the expected lines. 3 Republicans said, yes, we should get rid of it. The 2 Democrats said, no, we should not. We won't actually see the effects of it come to term for quite some time, although it does make it easier for those 2 groups that we mentioned to do their merger. Whether that actually becomes an issue or not, I feel like those 2 becoming a merger in terms of 233 local TV stations reaching 72% of the U.S. population. I don't feel like this rule makes or breaks that happening, considering we see very similar things happening in other facets across the country. So I think that there is something larger that should be addressed that pertains to these large companies having such a large control over particular sections of the market, such as, like the AT&T Time Warner Cable, the Time Warner Cable merger, Sinclair and Tribune Media merger. There should be things instead addressing those rather than these old rules that were not really meant in pertaining to those things.
Sure. I guess it just needs an update, really.
I feel like a lot of our government needs just an update in general.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't want to admit that because our government's infallible.
Well, also the government is the one that has to update itself, a lot of people don't like to update their own computer, much less, the actual...
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's kind of broken, though.
It's really broken.
9.
Pharma billionaire arrested on charges of bribing doctors to prescribe opioid painkillers.
This is submitted by Do Not Believe It to our news. Submitted a go by.
Submitted a go by. Darn it. I try, buddy. I try, but I am
That
not
was a
perfect.
lot closer than normal.
Yeah, no, I think it was actually worse. I didn't miss it entirely, which is what normally happens. Instead, I just didn't delete the entire time frame. Okay. Well, are you ready to hear a bunch of names that mean nothing to you?
What?
I said, are you ready to hear a bunch of names that mean nothing to you?
Go for it.
So, billionaire founder of Insys Therapeutics. Heard of that one?
Nope.
Yeah, didn't think so. Has been arrested on the idea of fraud and racketeering charges because of a potent opioid called Subsys. Heard of that one?
Nope. No.
Nope, sure I haven't either. It's a learning experience. So this painkiller called Subsys is actually a fentanyl-based painkiller.
Oh shit, that'll kill you.
Yeah, you've heard of that one. And it's only supposed to be only prescribed to cancer patients that are in the most extreme levels of pain. Now, a little bit of research into this shows that a lot of doctors are just prescribing it because they can, even to people that don't have cancer at all.
Oh.
Raises a lot of questions why, and looking into it, it looks like a good number of these doctors are receiving a kickback, basically payments from the company that makes Subsys for prescribing it.
All right, motherfuckers. I guess this is the year that everything is coming to fruition, because, like, our number one spot we'll talk about, but it's very similar to this. These guys are getting fucked in the ass because they're being dickbags, you know, so...
Well, I think it's that there's a lot more access to the things that people like. It's a lot harder in some aspects to be a dirty dirtbag now because there are so many eyes everywhere. The media is everywhere.
People don't put up with it anymore.
Well, yeah, and also, it's so much easier to call someone out on it because if you call someone out on it publicly, then the people that do have the time, the money, the resources to get them for it will be like, well, we're going to look at them now. Thanks, guy.
I mean... It's more knowledge is more accessible now than it has been ever.
Well, and it's no different than like my office. My office relies very heavily on the public because people are like, well, why didn't such and such get in trouble for doing this with his campaign? It's like, well, we didn't know about it. Well, why didn't you know about it? How would we know about it unless either he told us or you told us? Thanks for telling us. We'll look into it now.
More people get outraged that nothing's happening about a thing than need to be generally, because like sometimes they just didn't know.
Right. And a lot of times that's what the result ends up being is that we didn't know. In terms of like what we'll be talking about later, the Russian involvement with the 2016 election, for the longest time we didn't know until there was pieces that just fell into place that we're like, oh, starting to know now.
Yeah, there's a lot of fucking pieces, I'll tell you what.
In any case, so John Kapoor was the person that founded the company that originally made Subsys and is also the company that is allegedly providing kickbacks to the doctors for them to prescribe it now. In any case, he has been, so it is for racketeering charges. He has been put on $1 million bail. And,
fuck.
And on top of that, he has to wear electronic monitoring and has to give up his passports.
That fucking blows for him, but you know what? It's necessary because you are not running away to a new fucking country.
Mm-hmm. Well, and especially because you are capitalizing on people, not just people's pain, people's suffering, and causing them additional pain and suffering and debt so that you can have money.
Mostly in the way of them becoming fucking addicts, dickhead.
Or killing them.
Mm-hmm. Or just outright killing them because fentanyl.
Yep.
8.
Lawsuit. Indiana purging voters using software that is 99% inaccurate.
Hold on, I had a random thought about fentanyl.
Okay.
So you ever have those moments where you have jingles stuck in your head
Sure.
and you change one word slightly?
Yep.
Well, I have one where it changes two words, but I had the Danny Phantom song stuck in my head.
Give it to me.
But it ended with, gotta kill him all because he's Danny Fentanyl.
That's pretty terrible. That's awful, actually.
Anyways, this was submitted by Madam One to Our Politics.
So Indiana uses a voter fraud program to try and catch people that are voting illegally. Now, a good amount of research into illegal voter fraud shows that it is pretty negligible in terms of how much it actually affects an election. In 2016, there was a huge research that went into it, especially because of the call that of the fraudulent election in one way or another.
Call of the void.
Well, that's an entirely different thing. And in terms of the votes,
this last election makes me believe that the call of the void and this is not anything different.
Probably not. In terms of the votes, what they found is that voter fraud accounts for 0.0003%.
Oh, but all of those millions of Democratic votes.
Wait, I need to pull up a calculator now, because there was 90 million people that voted in 2016?
Yeah.
So 90 million times 0.0003. 27,000.
That's still a lot of votes. Just saying.
I mean, if those were all in one place, it could have affected a single district.
Fair.
Yeah.
Depending on the area.
I mean, I think Trump won Michigan by like 11,000 votes or something very narrow like that. So I mean, in that case, if they were all voter fraud in his favor, it could have made the difference.
Yeah, definitely.
In any case, so the way that this system works, it's called cross-check, and it is the most ridiculous thing ever. Cross-check, this is literally all it checks. It checks voter registration in Indiana compared to voter registration in every other state, and all it checks is first name, last name, date of birth.
Really?
Yep. And so...
All? Not social security number? Not anything else?
Nope. First name, last name, date of birth.
What if you have the same first name, last name, and date of birth as some other fuck?
So it flags it, and before they would have to contact you to find out if you had moved, if you were in the same place, only being able to remove you from their voter registration if you told them, yes, I have moved to Kansas or wherever, or if you did not vote in 2 general elections in a row. In which case they're like, well, he's not voting, he must not be here, strike him off the list, right? Mm-hmm. Well, recently... They rolled out a new law that allowed county officials to purge them from the voter list if they came up on cross-check at all. They don't even have to check with you to see if you move. Nope, there's like, oh, John Smith, born December 17th, 1992. There's a John Smith in California, born December 17th, 1992. Well, we'll just remove him from our list.
Wow.
Yep, that's it.
That's interesting.
Well, and the problem is that
I didn't know that existed at all.
It is grossly inaccurate.
Oh.
Grossly inaccurate, because the number of people that share a name and birthday with you, and if there's one, they can remove you from the list, and the chances of there being one are really high.
Not unless you have some weird fucked off name.
Yeah, but in terms of like generalization,
I'm looking at you, Frank Zappa, and his kids.
Well, and the even larger problem with this is not only is it wholly inaccurate, is that it more heavily affects minority groups because they have more common matching names.
Okay.
Because, like, Lee is a very, very common surname for Korean. Cruz is a very, very common surname for Hispanics.
Nguyen.
Yeah, isn't that actually just pronounced Wen?
I have no idea.
It's pronounced Wen. But,
is it?
Yes. But
I've been pronouncing it Nguyen because I thought Nguyen sounded fucking so wrong.
It is literally pronounced like, when are we gonna be there? Yeah, never would get...
But it's spelled Nguyen!
I know, buddy. I know it hurts. But in terms of... So, if you are Caucasian, the chances of someone sharing your name and birthday are 30%. If you are a minority, the chances of someone sharing your name and birthday are 50%.
I feel like for white people that should go up for generic names like John Smith.
Right, but that's what that's taking into account. Of on average across white people, you have a 30% chance of someone sharing your name and birthday.
I have a bunch of friends right now on my friends list whose names are Nathan Wood.
Yeah. Well, and like, I mean, even for a unique name like mine, Michael Schwan, and my last name is not spelled the way that most people think it's spelled. It's spelled the original way, which has an extra H in it because we wanna. There are still like 6 of me in America. Now, I don't think any of them share my birthday, but there's still like 6 Michael Schwans.
Yeah, I have exactly 5 Nathan Woods. One of them's not in America, but all on my friends list.
But that means that if any of them share your name and your birthday, they can literally just go, nope, you can't vote in Indiana anymore. If you lived there, anyway.
That's real shitty.
Yeah, real awkward, huh?
Real shitty.
Yep, so there's a lawsuit against that right now. We'll see what comes of that.
7.
Ex-Trump campaign foreign advisor George Papadopoulos secretly pleaded guilty.
What the fuck is up with these people's names? Maybe that's why. Fucking how many other George Papadopouloses are there?
I will tell you in just a moment because
This was submitted by Habituela Condolce to Our Politics.
Habituela con dulce. You know what that is? That is beans with chocolate.
I'm really happy I pronounced that properly.
Yep, and it's really tasty. Yeah. Anyway, so in terms of the Russian investigation, U.S. Special Counsel Robert Mueller has he started the action train. He's done lots of investigation. He's like, all right, cool, time to start making arrests. We got our people. The first of which was this guy, George Papadopoulos, and he has pleaded guilty to trying to contact, as a member of the Trump campaign, trying to contact the Russians for an open communication line for assistance in the 2016 campaign. Mm-hmm. Now, Trump has responded to this. Well, not Trump. Trump's press secretary has responded to this, saying that Trump and his lead campaign people had only spoken to this guy, George Papadopoulos, once in the entire campaign trail, and it wasn't anything revolving this. However, we also have some emails from the Trump campaign that said, send the little guy so that hopefully it won't raise any questions. So there's that.
Oh.
In any case, he has pleaded guilty to 1, lying under oath, and 2, attempting to contact the Russians in regards to the 2016 campaign, and including revealing some information about some other people, one of which we'll be talking about later. And so this is kind of...
I'm excited for that one.
This is kind of like the swing. The up until now, the FBI special counsel had just been kind of getting into it, being like, all right, working our way up to the plate, kind of groping up on the bat, and they're like, all right, swing, and a hit, and a hit, and a hit. And this is the first step, although it is very unfortunate because there is a certified Twitter user named George Papadopoulos that is actually a financial aid dude on Twitter who has just been getting slammed since this news came out. And he's had to do nothing but be like, I'm not that guy. I'm not him. This is not, leave me alone. Do you want some financial aid? Can I turn this into a positive for me?
This is amazing. It's understandable because, shit, people get pissed off at other people. People would get pissed off at Michael Flynn, and your name is Michael Flynn.
Yep, it's true.
So, the only thing saving you is your last name right now.
Yeah, the difference is that Michael Flynn is his last name. Flynn is my middle name.
Yeah.
So, in any case, he is currently looking at 5 years in prison and up to a $250,000 fine for what he has done. Now, that said, because he's a guilty plea and he is cooperating and helping them in terms of this investigation, it is most likely he will not have a fine and have 6 months of probation.
Damn. That's kind of shitty.
Well, he's so small, but he's the piece that they needed to work their way up. Like Jennifer in the chat room says, it's how you take out the kingpin. You start at the lower ranks and work your way up like the mob.
I guess, you need to start somewhere and, getting... It's understandable that you make deals with these smaller people to get
the big one.
Dirt on the bigger peoples.
Well, and also what it is what they've been digging for this whole time is something real, something substantial, not something that, looks wrong, but something they can actually go, no, this is what's wrong. We have it right here. You're looking for the actual evidence, not oh, there was a meeting in Trump Tower with a Russian lawyer, and it's that's not really anything. Oh, but these other people were at the meeting. Yeah, that still doesn't mean anything. Well, reportedly, they talked about this. We need something more than, yeah, there were some people that may or may not have talked about some stuff at Trump Tower, and one of them just happened to be Russian. That's reasonable cause to look at stuff, but it doesn't get you anywhere. Whereas actually having this guy that has information and communications and can go, yes, I have this. Will you not throw me in prison? And they're like, we will totally not throw you in prison. Thanks, guy. We needed a bell to pull.
Yeah, and we got it. This motherfucker is our bell.
And we will talk more about that bell in our number 1 slot. But we got some other stuff to talk about before then. Primarily a crisis in France. Oh my God.
6.
France is running out of butter for its croissants.
Ah! It was also submitted by Alpha SN to R, not the onion.
Did you know that France is the largest per capita consumer of butter?
I didn't until now, but it makes sense.
They consume more butter than anyone else in the world.
What? I was going to say why, but it's obvious because they're croissants.
Because France. But in terms of a recent milk shortage that happened in 2016, increased demand across the world for butter, as well as a feud with French retailers. French retailers are refusing to pay anything extra for butter because they don't want to have to raise their butter prices because they're in such a fight over who gets to sell the butter. But because they won't pay a little bit more and have to sell it for a little bit more, they're not getting any.
Oh.
So the people that make tons of butter, which, by the way, did you know that butter is sold by the ton?
I didn't.
To retailers, it is sold by the ton. So in
That's a fucking ton of butter.
It's
a pie.
In 2016, butter was selling for 2,500 euros a ton, and it is now 7,000 euros a ton. So it's a very substantial increase in price. But because French retailers refuse to pay that extra bit because they'd have to increase the price of butter, France just doesn't have any. And
we need to start a Kickstarter or like a GoFundMe for France so that they can get the much needed butter they deserve.
Well, and because humans are humans, it's only been exacerbated because once the French consumers heard about this, they went out and bought all of the butter that was at the store because they're like, we're not going to have any. I better buy 8 tubs.
It's like what happened with the rice like years ago.
Mm-hmm.
When people thought there was going to be a rice shortage, they went around and caused a rice shortage.
Or like gas or anything else like that when they're like, we're going to run out of fuel, and everyone's like, they'll just fill tubs with gasoline. And it's like, oh, God, you guys are just making it worse. There wasn't a shortage until you all made one.
That's the problem, is as soon as you fucking let out the news that there's going to be a shortage, even if it's only just there might be a shortage, that's when everyone freaks out.
Yep.
And causes the shortage.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Anybody can really go out there and be like, oh, hey, there's going to be a shortage of Crocs. And I bet you some dude's going out there and buying like 80 fucking pairs of Crocs.
Dude, you know, I really... There's a picture that always spoke to me regarding Crocs because everyone shits on Crocs so hard, right?
Right.
And the photo was it was a text photo, and it was talking about all you people hating on Crocs, but they reported $2.4 billion in market value last year. Some of y'all fuckers are lying.
Fucking got him.
And that was like 5 years ago.
I'll be honest, I actually don't mind Crocs. I like them.
And, I don't mind them either, but they're kind of like flip-flops to me rather than like actual shoes.
Right, they're like a beach shoe. I would wear them to the beach, maybe.
Yeah, or like when you need to quickly take the trash out or, something like that. But they shouldn't be used as shoes.
It's like an outdoor slipper.
They also shouldn't be worn with socks.
Yes, absolutely. They have holes in the sides for a reason. It's just like how you shouldn't wear socks with Converses.
Yeah, don't do that. All right, anywho. Button.
5.
The lives of tens of thousands of premature babies could be saved by simply delaying clamping the umbilical cord by 1 minute.
That's exciting. That was submitted by... Is that La Pimpington or Ia Pimpington?
I'm gonna go with La Pimpington.
La Pappington.
Pappington. La Pimpington. La Pimpington. No, that's not right. In any case, so Australia is taking the charge in trying to be trying to do new things because a lot of the times we're like, if this works, we'll just leave it how it is. So a team of doctors in the University of Sydney is finding out that in terms of, and this is specifically for premature children, so babies that were born before 37 weeks of gestation, if they wait just 60 seconds before they clamp the umbilical cord, they reduce the risk of a premature child dying by 1%. 1/3, 33%. Speak English. Go.
Do they explain why?
So basically what it is one, it's completely safe because they don't need to be worried about what's being transferred through the umbilical cord because the stuff the baby's supposed to get anyway. But it gives the baby a little bit more blood. They get additional white blood cells. It basically just gives them a little bit more of everything they need before they actually clamp it off.
Phrasing.
What?
Phrasing.
I'm lost on it. I'm sorry.
It gives them a little bit of everything they need before they clamp it off.
Sure.
Sounds pretty sexual.
I'm sorry.
It's an Archer thing. They say phrasing.
Oh, sure. Whatever you say, buddy.
Seriously, are we not doing phrasing anymore?
Is that also a quote from Archer?
Yeah.
Okay. I've not seen a single episode of Archer, so...
Oh my god, you're missing out.
I believe you.
As soon as I started watching it, I binged the entire thing, and I need more Archer. I will sit there and rewatch episodes of Archer when bored, because it's just... I do that more. I do that more often than with South Park, and I fucking am only alive here today because of South Park.
I play lots of video games.
I would, but I get really lazy at the end of the day, and it's like I've already spent a lot of stuff doing.
You get too lazy to play video games?
At most, I'll play a card game, maybe Pokemon.
Jesus.
Something where I'm not like trying to actively trying to move my finger and use my brain for.
Whatever you say, buddy. Puerto Rico's utility cancels controversial $300 million contract with Montana firm hired to repair electrical grid.
This is submitted by Rafael Loa to Our Politics.
Yep, so we talked previously about how PREPA, the Puerto Rican Electrical Power Association, had signed a $300 million contract with a small Montana firm called Whitefish. And there was some connections with Trump to Whitefish, and how on the day that Hurricane Maria hit, Whitefish only had 2 full-time employees, although we did give them the benefit of saying, they operate on a business model of where they subcontract out whenever they have a job, and they quickly cranked up to 300 employees to be able to actually assist Puerto Rico, and those employees were already on the island doing work. Now, in terms of they basically, the governor said, I don't want this contract. This contract was not constitutional, and you guys shouldn't have done it. Then they basically said, well, because there's so much controversy around this agreement, we will cancel it. Now, there's already been $8 million in payments to Whitefish, and some of the infrastructure has already been reconstructed, but they're going to have to work forward from there with a new deal. The biggest problem that both the governor and the general government had with this deal is that it had in it a clause that said that the pay rates and other terms of the agreement could not be audited or reviewed by FEMA. And because of that...
Fuck that.
Exactly, because FEMA's going to be one of the people that are helping pay for it.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
And so the contract has been revoked. Those payments will still go through because, that work's already been done. But it's going to be essentially the entire process will be reinitiated to find a new contract. Also in response to this, the FBI has taken up an investigation into why this agreement was made in the way that it was.
Yeah, understandable. So this is Fishgate.
Why do we call everything Gate?
Because of Watergate.
Yeah, but why?
Because that was one of the biggest American scandals in recent memory.
I suppose. I just always feel weird when everyone attaches Gate onto something.
It's because everyone's going to be deep throat nowadays.
What?
Phrasing.
Sure. Okay.
3.
I hit the wrong button. You shut up.
We should have played that when we announced that. Fuck it. Oh, never mind. That's Blue's Clues.
Yeah, that was Blue's Clues. What did you think it was?
Dora the Explorer.
Oh, no, we don't have that one.
Retarded.
Star Trek Discovery actor Anthony Rapp. Kevin Spacey made a sexual advance towards me when I was 14.
This was submitted by Gavin Gunhold to Our Television.
So, this is an interesting step in the entire, Me Too movement, talking about also in regards to the whole thing involving the sexual crap that happens in Hollywood. So, Anthony Rapp is currently starring in Star Trek Discovery. He got his first real big break in the mid-'80s on the show Precious Sons. And he was a child actor, and so being a child actor in general is a very interesting situation because you are a child in an adult's world, because everything around you is conducted and ran by adults, but you are the child. And so in this particular case, he went to a Hollywood actor get-together, essentially, because it was expected of him as a performer on Precious Sons.
Oh, there's 3 people watching. Oh, never mind.
What? Are you talking about on YouTube?
Yeah.
It's like, okay. In any case, so he was there. He was 14, and he was bored because he was at a party with a bunch of Hollywood adults, and he's like, I have no idea what any of you all are talking about, and I don't care. So he found a bedroom and went in there and sat on the bedroom and just watched TV, waiting until it was time to leave, until like midnight. And apparently in that time while he was hanging out in there watching TV, everyone had left. And this party was at Kevin Spacey's house. Kevin Spacey then walked into the room and was like, oh, you're still here. And he's like, oh, do I need to go? And then Kevin Spacey made sexual advances towards him, including picking him up as described was like a groom would a bride, placing him on the bed and then crawling onto the bed with him. And then once Anthony Rapp said, nah, thanks, I'm good, and slinked out, Kevin Spacey followed him to the door and said, are you sure you don't want to stay? And he said, yeah, I'm sure. I'm going to leave. And Kevin Spacey told him, have a good day. And so that's the situation that was at hand. Anthony Rapp said he never talked about it because, well, in Hollywood, things like that can destroy your career. And so he wanted, his career to go on. But with everything that's happened recently, he decided to come out and talk about it. What is your opinion on that situation as it is now?
After hearing this?
Yeah.
I feel very hurt as a Kevin Spacey fan. Mm-hmm. Because I can acknowledge that this is something that very well had happened. Not because I find Kevin Spacey incredulous, but because no matter how big of a fan you are of someone, that doesn't mean that they can't be a scumbag in secret.
Sure.
What I'm proud of Kevin Spacey of doing is letting the man leave and not making very, very poor decisions. However, he was 14, and he should never have made those advances towards a 14-year-old.
And Kevin Spacey has responded, and he has he had 2 different parts of his response.
This was submitted by Pleaded to our news. Blah.
And so, his response is a little interesting. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically what it comes down to is that he said that encounter would have been over 30 years ago. If it was at that party, if it was at one of those parties, I was most likely really drunk. I apologize, but I have no recollection of it whatsoever. He then, after that, goes on to say that this issue has encouraged him to address other things about his life, and he decided that at this juncture it is time for him to reveal that he is gay.
I'm happy for him for coming out. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are angry at Kevin Spacey for even doing this, trying to detract away from the fact that, he had made sexual advances towards a 14-year-old boy. But, I mean, I'm going to agree with him. It was 30 years ago, and he was most likely really drunk.
Well, and I'm not sure where I sit on it because, one, it was 14. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, at least Spacey was a decent enough person to not make a big deal out of it when his advance was rejected. Also, in comparison to, the Weinstein situation of, well, if you're not going to sleep with me, will you just sit there while I jerk it? I
will agree with you because Weinstein is a very, very large scumbag. Kevin Spacey made sexual advances to a 14-year-old boy.
And that's really where the problem should lie, is that he had advances towards a 14-year-old boy. And so I don't know how I feel about it. I'm very conflicted inside. Brett in the chat room says that I think the guy who called out Kevin should have taken up with him directly and that he's jumping on the train to get attention. And, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know. And, with the situation that was described, I'm like, wow, Jesus, Kevin, you're a little bit forward there. But I don't feel like it nearly would have been a story at all if the dude wasn't 14.
I don't know. I feel like it would still be a story because, Terry Cruz's thing was a story, and that was That was about a man getting his dong grabbed.
Yeah, well,
Does it make it any different because he is a large black man? I don't feel like it should.
the reason that I say this is, and I'm not saying this is okay by any means, because people are really taking this in a lot of directions and really like pushing it big, real hard, wanting to slam Kevin Spacey real hard, and I understand. I just think there are so many larger things than this that are so much that should garner more attention, whereas this one is getting so much.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to be with Brett here. It was in his bed, in his house, and he was very drunk. It only becomes news because he was 14.
Yeah. And I can see, understand, and agree with that. So
the man rebuffed his sexual advances and left.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like he was forced. He was like, "You sure you don't want to leave?" "Yeah, I'm going to leave." "Oh, okay, well, have a good night."
Mm-hmm.
Vivi in the chat room says it makes a difference because there was no dong grabbing of a 14-year-old kid.
Thank God.
Yeah, and so, I mean, it's one of the things that people in general, especially women, have to deal with all the time is in terms of advances like this, and they're very awkward, uncomfortable situations, and in terms of if Kevin Spacey was a different person, it could have went much worse. But, and so, I mean, if it was, we'll say like a 23-year-old actress, she would have just been thankful that it was an
easy escape.
Easy escape, a non-aggressive interaction, I guess, which is still a problem because of situations like that do arise and happen. But in terms of I feel like this story diminishes all of the other ones like it.
This story is very interestingly positioned. Yeah.
He's here, but he didn't squish his face up against mine. I predicted wrong. Oh, I got it. I told you.
I can't even see the thing.
That's fine. You'll see him in a minute.
I couldn't even get Vivi's thing in my in my chat feed, so I have to reset it.
No, well, your chat feed is rude.
2.
Since Mali formed an armed brigade to protect its endangered desert elephants 9 months ago, not a single elephant has been lost to poachers.
This was submitted by... sorry, I was resetting my thing. Love Bamboo to our uplifting news.
Turns out if you stick a bunch of guards around elephants with guns, people won't try and hunt them.
What?
I know, right?
No. You make the people guarding the animals more aggressive. It's going to deter people?
Yeah. Especially also when you walk into all the local towns and say, hey, if you guys are helping any poachers and those poachers try to come kill our elephants, we're going to kill the poachers and then come kill you.
All right, so Vivi in the chat says elephants with guns. All right, one of my most vivid memories from childhood involves elephants with guns.
I'm listening. I'm waiting.
Okay.
You can't just say that and then pause.
My father had a very thick science fiction novel.
Phrasing.
Go
ahead.
Now you're catching on.
Yeah, I'm catching on real fast, buddy. I like that one.
The science fiction novel is called Footfall, and I just looked it up. It was written by Larry Niven.
Okay.
The important thing is, on the cover of Footfall, it shows a soldier looking for the alien, and the alien is an elephant with two trunks. One of the trunks is holding a mirror so he can see where the man is, and the other trunk is holding a gun.
That is hilarious.
It's amazing. I'm probably going to make it my background now.
Do it, son. We need to get a green screen behind you, and I can just make that the screen behind you.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I don't actually know how to do that, but
1.
Paul Manafort, who once ran Trump's campaign, told to surrender.
He's been tapped and cannot untap during his upkeep step. This is submitted by Spudgun888 to our news.
By the way, when I first heard this, I was like, told to surrender? Is this like?
Yeah, I pictured him with his arms up. There's like guns on the ground. There's people around him with guns. Just freeze, dirtbag.
Well, and I was like told to. Well, my brain first said,
My first
thought from my brain was like, is this like a really biased news article or something? No, surrender himself to federal investigators. Like, you need to turn yourself into the FBI now, or we will come get you.
Yeah, it's essentially a warrant.
Yeah, except instead of like a warrant of like, if we find you, we'll arrest you. It's like, no, you come to us today. And he did.
Oh, yeah. No, if they're telling you to come to them today, you fucking go to them today.
Yep. So, like I said, Robert Mueller is just grabbed the bat and he's ready to start swinging. And so we talked about George Papadopoulos, and now we're going to be talking about Paul Manafort and Rick Gates. Which is his basically like really Paul Manafort's really good friend that helps.
Are we calling this instead of like Russia Gate? Is it like Rick Gate?
I would prefer not.
Come on.
No. Pass. I think these headphones are starting to die. I'm hearing weird noises in them.
No, they're just haunted.
They're just haunted. Awesome, great. It is Halloween. In any case, so and now they have both pled not guilty. On less surprising. And the charges are that he laundered millions of dollars through overseas shell companies, almost all of which came from Russia, which he then used to, well, buy himself a very nice life. Luxury cars, real estate, antique rugs, expensive clothes, etc.
I need to find the Reddit post for this because there's some things in the comment section where people were found, where people reported on the Paul Manafort's daughters' exchanges between each other, because they are fairly incriminating.
Well, and the FBI itself has evidence right now about how, because Paul Manafort was Trump's campaign manager, a very high-ranking member in the Trump campaign, and how he was trying to coordinate with the Russian government. Specifically trying to damage their rival Hillary Clinton rather than actually get help themselves. Which, I mean, depending on how you want to describe that, yeah, sure, I guess, hurting my opponent helps me. But in any case, like, it's here, it's on, it's happening right now.
Yeah, because like this is not a baby step anymore. This is a big step.
And they even have the ammunition loaded to be like, well, if we can't get you on Trump collusion, on Russian collusion charges, we'll just get you on tax evasion.
Okay. So here's the post.
Yeah, just like the mob. Jennifer, I hear Jennifer from the back room being like, well, we can't catch you, so we'll just get you on your taxes.
Just like the mob.
Yeah, just like the mob.
Vivi says hashtag Rick Gate for you, Nate. Oh, Vivi's like my favorite.
So that's
anyways, I found the comment section.
Go for it.
It was Citizen Jack who posted it, and he says he was a pretty obvious target if you think about it. He's been tied to Russia for years and worked to destabilize Ukraine during the revolution. He's bad news. Even his daughters hate the man for what he did in Ukraine. And then he posts this link to Business Insiders about Paul Manafort's daughters texting each other. But the link itself is an excerpt, and it's, "Don't fool yourself," Andrea wrote to her sister, according to the texts. "That money we have is blood money. You know he has killed people in Ukraine knowingly," she continued. According to the reviewed texts, she continued according to the reviewed texts, "as a tactic to outrage the world and get focus on Ukraine. Remember when there were all those deaths taking place a while back, about a year ago, revolts and whatnot? Do you know whose strategy that was to cause that, to send those people out and get them slaughtered? Paul Manafort."
Yeah. So one way or another, that's going to happen. We will be sure to pay attention and hopefully keep you updated on that as we move forward.
I know it'll be my shit of the day, because fuck Paul Manafort. This is my favorite part of the day. We're going to call this Nathan's Curse Corner.
Nathan's Curse Corner.
Paul Manafort, you are such a skeezy fucking douchebag that you would go out and rather have all of these people in another country murder each other so that you can line your fucking pockets, as if it was some form of lead that would keep all the cancer or the chemotherapy cancer out of your body. But you know what? You yourself are a cancer, and we are the chemotherapy that together will rise and take you down.
Thanks, Robert Mueller. Also, let's not forget about, the dude we talked about, number 9, that lined his pockets off of killing people with opioids.
Yeah, fuck that guy, too.
I'm Mr. Meeseeks! Look at me! Nathan, what did you care about in the last 86 hours? No, 96 hours.
I care that I can't fucking dress up for work.
Why can't you?
Okay, so I was told a couple days ago that it would be alright if we wore like headbands or like a little bit of maybe face paint or something.
Oh, dress up for Halloween.
Yeah. Very little dress up,
Sure.
I was told today that is nixed completely and we can wear jeans maximum.
Sad.
So, the reasoning I found out is because several years ago, like 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago, there was a guy who worked there, and I don't remember his name, but he had decided to dress up as something you weren't supposed to dress up as. You weren't supposed to dress up as a judge, a fucking inmate, and like 2 other things. And he dressed up like an inmate, right? Well, he's hanging out with one of the fucking judicial services members by the coffee cart out in the
Did he get tackled by
front.
a friggin' state trooper?
Huh?
Did he get tackled by a state trooper?
No, he's hanging out with her over in the open area, and they're joking around and making fun of each other and stuff. And then he starts running around jokingly, and she starts chasing him jokingly, and it freaks people out.
Yep, that'll do it.
So we are no longer allowed to wear any costume.
It takes one to ruin it for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I cared about in the last 72, 86 hours, 96 hours, Nathan?
Destiny 2?
No, how'd your date go, fool? You weren't here on Thursday. Time to spill the beans.
That was pretty good. We had a lot of fun. We went 3D mini golfing, and it was pretty good. We
What is the difference between 3D mini golf and 2D mini golf?
So 2D mini golf is straightforward. It's just putters and golf and everything, right?
Okay.
3D mini golf is done in a blacklit room with other blacklit things. You are given a neon ball so that when you put your 3D glasses on, the red-blue, kind of 3D glasses on, it looks as if your ball is floating.
That sounds awful. Like,
it's fucking awesome.
I feel like I would be a terrible failure at that.
I've been told, I haven't had the chance to do it, and I don't think I will. But I've been told that it is bomb on mushrooms.
Okay. Well.
But anyways, we 3D mini golf. She beat me by 10 strokes. Phrasing. And then we sat there and played in the arcade for a bit. She played pinball while I played a game of Tekken. I got my ass kicked because I've been out of Tekken for a while. Then we both played that Tokyo Drift racing game,
right
but
on.
I'm not bad at racing, so I won.
Good job. Do you get to see her again?
Maybe, probably. I mean, technically, I saw her today because she works right next door and she has to come into the courthouse.
Cool. All right, let's get the hell out of here. Everybody, if you enjoyed this show,
hold on.
Wait, hold on my end as well. I need to remind everyone we won't have a show tomorrow because I'm doing Halloween stuff with the family. Go ahead, Nathan.
The other thing I forgot, though, was the next day was one of the people at work's birthday.
Yeah.
And her friend brought in roses for her, right? She bought a bouquet of roses.
Sure.
But her sister works at the rose place, so she gave her 6 bouquets of roses.
Oh, God.
And so she was like, hey, guys, go take these roses to somebody that you want to give them to.
Did you take them to her?
My first response was, damn, sick, extra points.
Good. Nice. Did you get points?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's good.
That's awesome. Congratulations, buddy. I hope things continue to go well. All right, everybody. If you got value out of the show, show us some value back. Patreon.com/dailyinternet. If you can spare $12 a year, which is $1 a month, please go throw that our way. Otherwise, follow, share, etc., all that good stuff on all forms of media, which is YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all of which are at iReaditCast. And, of course, you can find the show in a downloadable form on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play, and a 5-star review on all those platforms helps us immensely. If you have stories that you would like to submit, send them to our subreddit, which is r iReaditCast, or send them to us in an email, which is feedback.ireadit@gmail.com. You can find me on social media at SchwanMichael and Nathan at Bimmenstein. And that is your 375th dose of the internet, everybody. I am Michael Schwan.
And I'm Nathan Wood.
And please remember, everybody,
Don't get eliminated!
have a good day, everyone.
Bye.